I'm taking over the worst team in Texas, and I have 5 years to win a championship with them. But they haven't had a winning season since 2014, so it's going to take a lot to turn them into a contender, especially since I can only recruit out of the state of Texas. If there's anything positive going for Rice, it's their academic prestige, as they're actually rated the smartest college in this game. But we only have 4 players rated above an 80 overall, so you know what time it is. With only 5 years to make this a championship winning roster, I've got to find some good freshmen. Lots of 3 stars we're going after, but there are a couple good players. We got this 4-star running back and then a 5-star bust at quarterback, who I'm not sure I even want to land since he's a bust, but he's a 5-star, so we're going to give him a chance. The more exciting player though, James Castro, 94 speed. I would love to run the ball with him. I'm going to have to hope that we get lucky with them, but I also want to talk about Drayden Dickman. He's already on the team. He's our best receiver. He is 99 speed. He has the shifty ability. I think he's going to be fun to play with for a few seasons. And I also don't think quarterback AJ Padgett, the junior, is going to be too terrible for us. If you look at his accuracy stats, he is 90 in 3 categories. They only won 4 games last year, so I'm actually hoping that we can start this season with a win. And as we take a look at our schedule, it's important to note that I can hop into up to 3 regular season games a year, but that also forces me to build a talented roster. If we're going to get this rebuild off to a good start, this feels like an important one for us to play. And it's time to see if we can take down the Ragin' Cajuns here on the road. They would score on their first drive, which doesn't exactly make me feel great, but on 4th and 1, we're getting a pretty big run. It just won't end up meaning too much because a play later, we'd take a sack. On 3rd and 19, though, we are converting. This is what we need. It's always ideal to open up the game the right way. As you can see, nobody's over there on Dickman, so I felt like that'd be an easy touchdown. And on top of that, we've had a pretty good first half. With 13 seconds left, we are already up by 7 points. I'm hoping we can catch this right here because I wanted to get into field goal range, but instead it was an inaccurate pass. On the bright side, though, as we get down to the final 5 minutes, we have still maintained our 7-point lead. And this could be exactly how I wanted this game to go, but that pass was bad. It's all good, though. We hit this field goal. We're still going to be up by 10. And if we can get them off the field on 4th and 3, this one is basically over. There's the sack. For basically being the worst team in Texas this year, that was a great way for us to start. And what we figured out is running back Dalen Alexander is awesome. Just like our quarterback, he's a junior. He's 5'9". We're going to have him for 2 years, but look at some of these stats that he has, especially his quickness. 92 speed will do the job. And fortunately, we've been gifted 25 coach points, leveling up a couple of times, which means I can pour that into quarterback and halfback recruiter stuff, hoping I can put more hours into them. If I'm only allowed to recruit out of the state of Texas, I want to have a shot at Ben Cruz and James Castro. I have found a couple other gyms at quarterback. They're just 3 stars though, so I'm not sure I want them as much because skill caps have a lot to do with how players progress, but taking a look at some of these other 3-star prospects, they're interested in our academic prestige. We're competing for some scholars over here at Rice, but it's about time that we start American Conference play. And to my surprise, I know UAB isn't the best team in the world, but we did beat them by 6. We also leveled up again, which means we can unlock tier 3, allowing us to put more points into the 4-star running back. But what I'm starting to realize is even with the additional hours into Ben Cruz, he doesn't want to come to our school as a 5-star. We already have another pretty huge game coming up on our schedule as well. We're about to face off against rivals Houston. And if I'm just being completely honest, I was not expecting Rice to have some sick jerseys like this, but I hope it can get us the win. So far, I'm struggling to see how this team went 4-8 last season. It doesn't seem to be that bad, though. Our quarterback has 69 speed. And letting AJ Padgett run the ball there might have been dumb, but we're still going to get a touchdown. Where things stand right now, we're going into the half up by 10 points. And I thought Houston might have some sort of counter for that here in the second half, but they have not so far. We're about to get another touchdown, which would then make things 31-10. The Wildcat jet touch pass always works wonders. As time is winded down, they've done their best to come back versus us, but they have to pick up this 4th down, which they aren't going to do. And we have somehow started this first season 3-0 with the worst team in Texas. I'm still expecting things to go downhill, though. I can only hop into one more game. I don't want to play against number 9 Rutgers, but it would be a good one to go into. I just also have to consider the fact that we have a bunch of conference games coming up, and we could be in the running for a spot in the conference championship with important matchups to hop into there as well. I think we're just going to advance for a bit, and it looks like both of the 3-star quarterback gyms are still interested in coming to our school, along with James Castro, but Ben Cruz locked us out before we could even get down to his final 3. And I just noticed there are other 5-stars from our state that we could be going after. I just feel like the other schools are going to beat us out for them too. We ended up signing 4-star running back James Castro, though. This was one of my main targets at the beginning of the year. And that's why I'm not too upset we lost our first game against Rutgers. They're a top 10 team. They beat us by 4 points, though we are about to sim for quite a few games because I probably want to hop into our game against Tulane. With a real chance to still get a couple of these 5-stars, though, we have to get more recruiting hours into wide receivers. And this wasn't how I wanted to spend my coach points off the rip because this is only a 5-year rebuild, but it's how we're doing it. Over the next few weeks, Charlotte would beat us by 3 points in overtime. UConn would come into our stadium and take us down by 6. And Navy also slightly took us down, which puts us at 3-4 with these 5 games left on our remaining schedule. I figured we would have won at least one of those, but our true colors are starting to show. It looks like making it to the conference championship's going to be almost impossible. And that's why I have no issue simulating against Tulane. That was apparently the best thing I could have ever done though. We beat them by 2 points in overtime. It must have gone to a third overtime or later. And it's not because of Dalen Alexander. He is running the ball really rough, 1.8 yards per carry, and then AJ Padgett had 3 interceptions. Somehow though, we came out on top, and you're gonna see I've been putting in a lot of work to recruiting. There's a lot more 3-stars that have committed, and at the top of our board, we still are in first place for both of these 5-stars. Now, I know it's not gonna last for long, so I'm gonna have to find a week to schedule them for a visit. I wish I could do Army for both of them. It's gonna have to be Memphis, which would be the last game of season number 1 and the final one I'd want to hop into. We can sim against UTSA. With a few more weeks of simulating, on top of that, we got 5-star running back Tim Nye to commit. We've signed 2 incredible running backs, but I have noticed that we lost to the Roadrunners, we lost to Army, and then we 30-0'd USF. Even if we're sitting near the bottom of the American Conference, we're 5-6 at the moment, so if we beat Memphis, we would make it to a bowl game. And we would also somehow have a chance to get another 5-star recruit to commit, but he definitely needs that push. There is absolutely zero reason we should be in this position with a school like Rice, but we have to take our shot. And this could be the greatest start I have ever had whenever it comes to rebuilding a smaller school. The academic prestige is paying off more than I thought it would. We are the smartest school in the country, but there was a holding call in that 2-second pass. The worst part about that flag is by the time this ball was released, he didn't even have a chance to hold him yet. So it just ruined us scoring the first touchdown in this game for no reason. Instead, it looks like we're gonna have to settle for a 45-yard field goal. I might have missed it though, it's missing. And as we start this fourth quarter, we've only been able to put up 3 points in this game. I'm not sure why I'm trying to run with a 69 speed QB. This is not the time to make mistakes, to play bad. I want to get that 5-star receiver to commit to Rice, but I'm sure they'll hit this field goal, putting us down 16-3. There is only one person on this team I think I can trust in these final few minutes. That's not going to get to him. And whether or not Draylen Dickman gets open here, the ball is going up to him. It looks like he is going to find that space behind the defense, so there is our 99 speed receiver making a difference. All our defense has to do is just get Rice off of the field right here. I bit down. They could have had a completion, but instead they've given us a chance to win this one, and our rushing attack has had nowhere to go. On 3rd and 9, we're probably going to hit our drag route, just trying to move the chains. That's going to help. We're going to go past midfield at least. And AJ Padgett, if you want to throw to a 5-star receiver next year, you have got to get us the win. He's just so slow. There is no reason for us to rush though. There is still 2 minutes left on the clock. On 3rd and 4, we pick up the first. And I would love to become bowl eligible. Like I've said, Rice has not had a winning season since 2014. We could make that happen, making it to a bowl game and then winning there. But I'm afraid Alexander's getting a little bit tired because of wear and tear, and it's not going to matter. He has the lane, though I don't want to get in. This might come back to bite me, but we're going to take a knee to run out some clock. And now we have 3 chances to get into the end zone from the 2-yard line. Our first run's getting stuffed. Now I'm starting to question the decision. Probably should have just taken our points. Alexander, though, is going to punch it in. And we've done it. This does not guarantee the 5-star receiver commits. But if there's any chance that he would actually come to Rice, this is what we had to do. I actually love this as a first season. We've recruited some great prospects. We've made it to a bowl game. I did not expect either of those. And we even have another season with AJ Padgett. I'm not saying he was the best quarterback in the world, but he limited his turnovers. He had 20 passing touchdowns. And from the rushing side of things, Dalen Alexander actually let us down a bit. Of course, it's no question who our number 1 receiver was. It was Drayden Dickman. He still needs another 119 yards in that bowl game to get over 1,000. But he's just a sophomore, and he's going to have 5-star Ben Feliz next to him next year. It is insane that we got both of these 5-stars and this 4-star, but then we struggled on some of these 3-star prospects. Like, why is TCU taking this kid from us? That's a little annoying, but now we have to decide whether or not we want to fire these coordinators. I think both of them are motivators. They also have some stuff in recruiter. So at least for the time being, I'm more than happy to keep them around. Apparently on this file, Jalen Daniels transferred over to Oregon, winning the Heisman Trophy. Our bowl game is going to be against SMU. And to be honest, I was hoping it'd be a little bit easier than this because I'm trying to get Rice a winning season. We literally have to go all the way back to 2014, 2013 to see them having any success in football. And this is an SMU team that was able to make it to the playoffs last year. If we can't get them off the field in this spot, we're going to be in trouble. And it all comes back to the fact that we have only been able to score 9 points. We can't even beat their cornerback Steep with our 99 speed receiver. So at the end of the day, we're going to lose this one 30-16, and we were not able to get them a winning season. It'll come eventually, just not against Kevin Jennings. And it looks like Boise State made it back to the playoffs. They even won a game, but Georgia won the entire thing. You would think with all the success that we just had, there would be players not trying to transfer out, but that's not the case. We have to convince 4 of them to potentially come back. And both of the 75 overall junior receivers have decided to leave, probably because they know playing time's not going to come as easily for them. When it comes to seniors graduating, we're losing DJ Arkansas, one of our 4 guys above an 80 overall, but that's about it. And when it comes to some of the high school prospects, we're still recruiting. Ideally, I'm not going to put many hours into these guys. They're just going to come to Rice because we are in first place, but then we have the transfer portal. And this is where things get interesting as well. This guy's from a non-US state. It's going to be London, so we cannot recruit him. He's not from Texas, but from the state we can recruit in, I'm seeing nobody so far. It looks like the only player we're even going to have a chance to get out of the portal will be a junior transfer. I'm not going to mess with him. And instead, I'm just going to put more of an emphasis on filling up our board with more players from the state of Texas. Just from the looks of it, I don't think I lost a single one of those battles either. We've been able to sign 35 prospects. And you might think seeing that quarterback Rashad Hearn being a star dev player was the most exciting part about this class, but if I scroll up a little bit farther to the 4-star running back, he's elite development, and then both of the 5 stars also have elite development. For only recruiting out of the state of Texas, this class could not have been any better than it was. It finished as a top 30 class. And I have absolutely no idea how I'm supposed to top this next season. It also just dawned on me, we've recruited a 97 speed cornerback and then a 96 speed free safety. Langster's going to be my user. I couldn't scout those players throughout the year. I didn't have enough hours. So I just had to hope that everybody turned out to be at least decent, and looking at these training results, nobody's a super high overall, but we have more players above an 80. I would like to think that we've set ourselves up at least decently, and now I can start to take a look at some 5 and 4 stars we can go after this next year. It turns out that both of the 5 stars that would have considered us were busts though, so we're not going to waste resources on them. We're only going after 4 stars, including these 3 gyms, and my favorite is at the top of the board, Alton Casey. As far as I'm concerned, he could be the future quarterback of this program because we just brought in these 2 guys, and we know that Rashad Hearn has star dev. But what I haven't done is check out his skill caps. I'm not the biggest fan of his abilities, and even his accuracy isn't going to get up that high. That's definitely a bit disappointing. Taking a look at our schedule though, we have 0 top 25 teams on it, so I think we could go at least over 500 at the minimum. But it would all need to start with a win at home against Western Kentucky. In his first game with us, freshman Ben Feliz at receiver went for over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is going to be a great career for him. And we didn't just beat the Hilltoppers. We won 56-17. I'd say this is almost twice as many total yards of offense, and I gotta look at some of these stats. AJ Padgett went off. You know, that gives me a lot of confidence in this team moving forward, so we're gonna sim against 0-2 Army as well. But unfortunately, we couldn't beat them on the road. We lost 32-26. This is not the time to be having issues like that. Now we have to play against our rivals. I want to hop into this game. And to me, it's really worth it for us to win matchups like this, so at least at the beginning of the season, we can keep our championship contender rating up. But before we play that game, a word from AG1, today's video sponsor. I don't always have the healthiest diet, which makes it hard for my body to get the key nutrients that it needs, and that's why I'm glad I started using AG1, because on top of it giving me the vitamins, the minerals, and the phytonutrients from Whole Foods, which help cover your nutrient gaps, its B vitamins support energy without the caffeine crash that you get from coffee. I personally take it first thing in the morning, and it's a pretty simple process. I just get the AG1 canister out of my fridge, fill up the shaker with 8 to 12 ounces of water, add 1 scoop of the AG1 powder to it, plus a drop of D3 plus K2 if you have it. Then I just shake it up for a little bit, and it's good to go down from there. If you end up away from home, their travel packs are awesome because it allows you to take AG1 anywhere. And there are other benefits that come with AG1, like supporting your immune and gut health. But the reason I take it is I really care about feeling energized and getting the daily nutrients that I might not without it. Even if you miss the new year, there's no right time for better health, there's just now. So use the first link in my description or scan the QR code to subscribe and save $20 off your first subscription of AG1. And now it's time to get back to the rest of the video. I'm trying to convince a load of 4 stars to come to Rice, but playing like this is certainly not going to help. I mean, that throw is beautiful. We're just trailing 24-3, and that's our first good play on offense of the day. Houston has literally just scored over and over in this game, so if we don't pick up this 4th down, I know that it's going to be over. And I honestly think we're just going to have to keep going over to our best target as he's beating the press. It would be something if we could pull off this comeback. Our offensive line's falling apart though. They got a fumble out of that too. And there's only so much that I can do. I am going to throw it up to our 5-star receiver. We got hit before it could come out though. This whole game's just been a disaster against them. And we probably should have just simmed against our rivals instead. What I'm starting to notice as well, if I want a hard sell on any of these 4-star prospects, we just don't have the school grades to do so. Their interests don't line up with what we're good at. Which is why I'm relieved that we get an FCS school next up on our schedule. That is something that we would have a hard time messing up. Especially considering I wasted some hours trying to put Bullocks on a visit and he still committed to Alabama before he could even come to Rice. That's a little frustrating, but a couple weeks later, the 4-star gym at quarterback Alton Casey committed. And we also picked up wide receiver Angel Boudreaux, pretty close to Bordeaux, but not quite there. I think the reason for that was not only did we demolish the FCS school, but we beat UNLV on the road 31-29. They were 4-1 going into this. And I think we have to skip over this game against UTSA. They're 2-4. They're going to be an 80 overall. With my reasoning behind that is the week after, we're playing undefeated number 6 in the country, 6-0 East Carolina. But here's the problem. We didn't just get beat in this game. We got demolished 45-17. And I thought this was a great game to have both of these players on a visit for, which now means we're probably not going to land them, though we could still get Steven. I'm not enjoying all these tight races for 4-star prospects. A win on the road at a top 6 team, though, would definitely help us out. So I'm just hoping that we can play pretty well against East Carolina. Here in the third quarter, it's actually 17-all, and I saw that they were pressing over on that left side. You know who we're going to. But unfortunately, Dickman's not going to be around forever. He's put us in some good positions in this game, though. On third down, they're just going to pick it up. And they've been able to keep the drive alive. I'm stuck on someone I don't want to beat. It's all good. Okay, attempt number 2 at sending in a blitz on third down. This one is going to work out. And we are strictly looking to get the Pirates off of the field. Don't take that check down. I can deflect it. The computer thinks I'm stupid, but I saw that coming from a mile away. Now we're going to start running clock. And Alexander needs to have some big runs for us, though the blocks aren't helping him out that much either. We have a big third down ourselves coming up. Nobody blocked. It's not going to matter. And the more that we keep on running this ball successfully, the better I'm feeling is we have a huge lane right here and we almost broke loose. They can burn their 3 timeouts, but if we get into field goal range, which I think we're already in, it's not going to matter. And even better, if we pick up this 3rd and 1, the game is over, which we get. That was the perfect way to handle this situation to make sure that we got the win. But apparently, when we took a quarterback kneel, that we had to use an injury timeout because somebody got hurt. This is ridiculous. I couldn't run out the rest of the clock. Now I have to hit this field goal to make sure that we get the win, which we do. And I would have been sweating if we left any time on the clock for them to have a chance at a comeback. Of course, if anybody deserves credit for the win, it's Drayden Dickman. And we actually picked up both Zach Reach and Steven Hussein. We still have a chance at getting these 2 4-stars as well. I don't think those schools are coming back. And look at the bottom of our board. I've even added 2 more. With only 1 more game that I can hop into this season, though, I'm going to have to make a smart choice. I might just get it out of the way on the road against UAB, because I'm not sure it matters too much. That's going to be a tougher game for us, and looking at the conference standings, we know it's going to be hard to make it to the conference championship. We would basically just need to win out. That probably won't happen, but I could easily see us becoming bowl eligible if we win this matchup. For the first 3 quarters of this one, nobody has been able to score a touchdown. It's literally just been field goals. I'm not sure what I'm trying to do, but I'm feeling pretty good. We pinned them back with our punt, and now they're getting the first down off of a massive run. I'm confident that we'll be able to get them off the field eventually, though. They could have thrown it straight to me. Now they're trying to scramble, which did not work out too well for them. We also have Dickman on the return. I didn't realize he was also our kick returner. He has his 99 speed, but I don't think he's getting out of there. Part of me wonders, though, how fast can these UAB defensive backs be? Surely they can't keep up with him. Okay, evidently they can. He's still making the catch, though, and he goes out at the 1. That's what I thought our freshman receiver was going to be doing, since he's like 6'5", but I'm pretty sure he's injured, which means we're just going to keep on running the ball, and eventually we'll get in. I thought we had the touchdown right there. Our offensive line is not helping us out, but we have settled for too many field goals in this game. We're going to pass, and we're going to score. With 4 minutes left, that puts us in a good spot, but something I wasn't expecting was UAB to kick a field goal on 4th and 4. They've decided with a couple minutes left, they're going to trust their defense to get them the ball back, but I'm afraid they just gave us the perfect look, and we're going to take advantage of it. We have basically sealed our win with that 1 throw now. Unless they were somehow able to stop us, it's not happening. And they did their best to try and come back at the end, but they couldn't get their onside kicks, so we've improved to like 5-3. From here, we have another 4 games that we have to simulate, since I've already hopped into 3. But during that time period, I can confirm we're going to lose out on these final 2 4-star prospects. The bigger schools have just come out of nowhere, especially Texas. I can't really say that we finished the season the way I wanted to either. After beating Temple, we have lost 3 straight, which means we're sitting at 6-6. And we learned the hard way last year that this does not guarantee us a winning season unless we can win our bowl game. We've also been starting to get some intense pushback on all these 3-star prospects we're going after. I can't guarantee that we're going to sign any of them. But my biggest concern is because we finished 11th in the American Conference, we're not going to get a bowl game, at it looks like we are, though. It's going to be against Central Michigan, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. And this one might be sponsored by a cereal brand or something, but I don't care. If it gets us to a winning season, it's important. I just want Rice to experience one of those so our program can start trending upwards. Which is why I am so locked in for how we end this first half. I see over on that side of the field, we had leverage. But they didn't call this a catch, even though it looked like it might have been. We'll see if he got a foot down. You know, I'm not sure he did, but if the refs are going to give it to us, we have to take it. How's he not in? Oh well, we'll just let Alexander run it in instead. I am pretty bummed out that Dalen's a senior. He's going to be missed, but we also recruited a 5-star running back that we're going to put right in. And what did Central Michigan do wrong here? They hit our quarterback late. As we look to close this one out, I'm just going to hit our slant. I'm glad they didn't pick it. And I guess there's nothing wrong with kicking a field goal. That was the smart decision because from there, we just ran away with the entire thing. And for the first time since 2014, Rice has had a winning season in football. It's going to cost us quite a bit though. AJ Padgett, despite our record, had an incredible year. 30 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,500 passing yards. He is now gone. We're also losing our star running back. And on the receiving side of things, Drayden Dickman wasn't our #1 target. It was actually Landon Ransom Golez, and he's also a senior. I wouldn't be surprised if next year didn't go as well for us. South Alabama made a run all the way to the semifinals. And that needs to be us in the next 3 seasons. Pretty much everybody that was an 80 overall or higher on our team has graduated. Looking at this though, we have one player that wants to transfer out and actually is a 60 overall. You're free to go, buddy. He will straight up not be missed. And there is a lot of 4-star transfers from the state of Texas, including DJ Lagway, that will not even consider our school. I don't want to pick through these 3 guys, which means I might not have been able to bring in every single prospect, but we won most of our battles for the 3 stars besides 3 of them, and that's going to give us a class of 23 players. I believe where things get exciting though is when we look at Alton Casey, our quarterback's dev trait. He is elite dev with his field general and magician ability. We also have star dev right here, and then after we go down a bit, we have star dev, star dev, star dev, star dev on these 4 stars. I mean, surely this class is going to be ranked lower than our last one. Actually, it's up here at 28. That's 2 spots higher. But either way, it's very similar to the one that we just put together, and I think it's going to be good enough to help us get near a championship. I'm not going to sit here and act like recruiting out of Texas is the hardest thing in the world, but we've had to get lucky with certain positions and dev traits. And just take a look at these training results. James Castro, after not seeing the field last year, has jumped up to an 87 overall running back. That's not even the 5-star running back that we had. That was actually going to be Tim Nye, that's just an 80, which means we are perfectly fine at that position, but we do have to make some roster cuts since our roster size is 6 over the limit. I might have even gone a little bit overboard during that process. All that's left on this team is 5 seniors and 5 juniors. Outside of that, all these players will be on our roster by year number 5. And we really don't have too many team needs, though I am disappointed to say that there are no 5-stars interested in playing for our school this year. When it comes to who I want to start at quarterback, we could go with the senior. Drew is an 84 overall, but I kind of want to go with Alton Casey since we know he's elite development and he only has 3 years to really make a name for himself. His skill caps look extremely good. Whenever you have somebody younger as your starting quarterback though, you should probably go down the tactician tree. This is the first time we've done it, and just max out all the boosts that you can get for that position. It boosts stuff like their short and medium accuracy. And at the same time, I've done that for every single player on our offense, including the offensive line. I want his offense to be comfortable. We still have 40 coach points to spend though, so if I need to use them on recruiter to land some of these linebackers, to land some of these offensive linemen, we can do that as well. We actually got an insta commit out of the only gym I even found. And luckily for Alton Casey, his debut is going to come against an FCS school. You would think that'd be something that's pretty challenging to mess up, but apparently at some point in the game he got injured and the final score was 17-12. We barely escaped against them. Looking at the rest of our schedule as well, we have number 15 Washington on here. I really don't want to hop into a game against our rivals Houston for the 3rd year in a row, but I almost feel like we have to after that last close result. And this is our chance to get redemption for getting demolished by them last season. I gotta say, I'm liking how this first drive is going. With a little bit of motion, we're able to get Dickman wide open. And Alton Casey has not had a turnover yet. Right here, he's gonna find Dickman again. And I'm pretty sure that's his 3rd passing touchdown of the day. We're only midway through the 3rd quarter though, so this one's far from over. That's a laser. And unfortunately, later on the Cougars would be able to tie things up. But you see where we're sitting on the field. We should be able to keep on picking up first down. And if we don't, I'm gonna trust our freshman running back to pick it up on 4th and 2 where he gets more than enough. James Castro was the kid I was so excited about in that first year when it came to signing someone. He was our first 4-star recruit ever, and he just needs to be able to punch it in. The offensive line still needs some work, as you can see. But at least we'd score again after that, and I just don't see them pulling off the comeback they would need. They're on a 3rd and 20 at the moment. They're losing yards. And if they can't convert on a 4th and 13, this game is over, as we just had to make a tackle. I will give the Cougars credit though. They've made it a little bit tighter than I wanted it to be in the final minute. But either way, they weren't going to come back. And this is exactly how I expected us to play against Houston last year. I saw the weaknesses with our team though, so we're going to go down the recruiter tree one final time, making sure that we can put more hours into offensive linemen and also linebackers since we're going after 3 4-stars. But unfortunately, I can't even pursue all the offensive linemen on our board because one of them has a deal breaker for brand exposure. Our next game is going to be at Army. I feel like we've lost to them every season and they're an 82 overall, so this is probably another that we should play. Because in a perfect world, we'd be able to start this season 3-0. There is one piece of this team that is going to be missing and painful to lose next season though, and that is Dickman. I feel like there's no other receivers on the field I even need to look at whenever he's out there. And he's the reason this first half has gone so well. I feel like we can just take the top off of the defense right here, though it is a bit underthrown, it's not going to matter, which just shows how OP he is. Now we also need to go up to our 6'5 receiver, show him some love, or these Army corners are getting toasted. And it would have been almost impossible for this game to go any better. When it comes to player of the game, it is going to go to Drayden Dickman. But I'd also like to point out that true freshman Alton Casey was 14 for 15 for 5 touchdowns with no turnovers. I can't lie though, I'm pretty frustrated because we've reached another deal breaker on a player. Apparently our playing style doesn't suit this 4-star linebacker that we have a lead on. And we've been dealing with stuff like that all season. I don't expect to have a great recruiting class. I do expect us to not lose to our rivals Tulsa though. This would be a heartbreaking way to pick up our first loss. And to be fair, it would have been another good one to hop into, but we took care of business either way. Unfortunately though, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this linebacker. The right end could go to Houston as well. Right guard, Texas is probably going to take away. It seems like all the 4-stars are just being pulled away at the last second, which means putting more points into recruiter was not that worth it. We should have gone down the tactician tree and just maxed everything out. Right here, we're making our defensive backs play a bit better, and they're going to need it on the road at North Texas, who is ranked in the top 25 in one of the polls. In the coming seasons, I need to be a little bit smarter about how we conserve the games that we can hop into, but this felt like one that I just couldn't pass up on. And I've touched that eagle before. I went to North Texas this season. It's right back there in the end zone. I don't know how we caught it. And I will give it to EA. The details in this stadium are spot on. If you look right there to where that balcony is, that's actually where the AD is for North Texas. He has a little look over the stadium. I met him. The dude was like 6'7", way too big. Made me feel like a midget, but I actually got to watch the game over from this right side of the field behind all of the press. In real life, there's a cabana there. I'm not sure why it's not in this game. But either way, I love reliving stadiums in this game whenever they're this accurate. I guess being familiar with this stadium has somehow paid off because we've just dominated the entire game. They tried to run commit on a 4th and inches. We get another touchdown. And I'm not sure how many more times I can feed this kid the ball. What we did to North Texas in this game makes me feel a lot more confident in my abilities than I probably should be. And I just can't imagine a world where Alton Casey doesn't become a future superstar. I took the risk in starting the kid. Now we're sitting at 5-0, but we're about to play against Washington. And I thought this is where our season was going to go downhill, but it isn't. We scored 42 points. Looking at the rest of our schedule, we might be able to win out. I'm just not allowed to hop into any of those matchups since I've already played 3 this year. Looking at the standings though, we're in the running for the conference championship like we should be. We've also pulled off the signing of the 4-star right tackle. Of course, Texas stole one of the linemen from us, but outside of that, we're doing better than I was expecting. And how we do in the second half of the season is a lot less stressful if I just sim to the conference championship, so that's what we're going to do. We will see how many games we're able to win. I will say though, everything falling apart the second that we can't play in any matchup shows that this roster just wasn't ready to be that good. And that is so disappointing to see. After how strong we started the year, we finished 4-4 in American Conference play. We didn't even sign the remaining 3-stars on our board. We got pretty much all of them, but I wasn't in there to hard sell them. I just had to send the house. And these coordinators have done us well, but I think it is time to fire them and get some tacticians in to help out Rice. There was a slight part in me that really thought I was about to get this team to the playoffs in season number 3. That clearly did not happen. And I'm a bit afraid that I waited too long to find some coordinators for us, but at least I found one that's a tactician on the defensive side of the ball. That'll definitely help out our overall a lot. Now we have to see if we can beat Northern Illinois, which really shouldn't be a problem. We beat a MAC school for a bowl game last year. I will give the Huskies their credit though. We haven't played the best here on the teal field. We're trying to get a 2-possession lead. That was close. And I am almost positive that we are just gonna have to hand this one off one time to get it in. James Castro currently has 14 rushes for 20 yards. Just a terrible total. But we are still in a pretty good spot. Here on 3rd and goal, they are going to throw it straight at our zones. We can't pick it. And this is it right here. I am stuck on a pass rusher. They could scramble if they want, though they have a dot. They would also get the ball back, and they had a 2-point conversion after that last score. So we are currently relying on our defense to not give up anything stupid, and they keep on taking those little hitches. One play later, they would easily score, which means we need to get into field goal range, and I know the perfect guy to throw this up to. Never mind, apparently there's a cornerback that is 6'3" over on that side of the field, but we have an easy completion situation right here. They can't keep up with our slot receiver, and I'm not sure if we take this into the end zone or we settle for 3. We ended up centering things down the middle with 1 run. We're going to hit the field goal, and that's with time expiring, so we're not going to choke our lead against NIU. Although the future looks bright with Alton Casey, though. He's about to lose his favorite target, Drayden Dickman. He had almost 1,000 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns this year. At least we still have former 5-star Ben Feliz. And talk about a great freshman year out of Alton Casey. He basically had the stat line that we had last year with 4 times as many interceptions, though 12 still isn't that bad. Rushing wise, though, our running game just went downhill. I was expecting more out of James Castro. With his tactician boost, he's up to a 91 overall, and some of his stats just look incredible. But maybe he needs more time to progress. We're only losing 5 players. It just really stinks to say goodbye to Drayden Dickman. I believe he should have been a first-round pick. He was taken in the 4th round. We also put our right end there. I wasn't expecting that. And my hope is with a little bit more pro potential, maybe we'll have some decent transfers to look at for the first time. We can get the number 6 player in the country. Outside of that, there were a couple other exciting options, including these 2 3-stars, but I really want to focus in on David Mullins. But since I have to completely guess on his hard sell, I have a feeling that we're probably not going to land him. And not only did we not get him, we didn't get either the 3-stars either. The only transfer we pulled in was a 2-star. It is clearly going to be our worst recruiting class of them all, but it's also the final one that we're putting together. And I'm kind of curious if I can get Alton Casey to change his tendency over from a scrambler to being something like a field general QB. The way I do this is I make him another position like a defensive one, and when we move him back to quarterback, he still wants to be a scrambler. So that changed absolutely nothing. James Castro is up to a 94 though. That is super nice to see. And where's our best quarterback at? He's an 84. This is not exactly ideal out of Alton Casey, but he still has another season to progress. I just want to see his accuracy shoot up. And I also messed up. I found us a defensive coordinator, but I didn't get us an offensive coordinator, so we need to find a tactician at the end of this season. That is how we can max out our overall moving forward. I can also spend 20 coach points on our defensive line to make sure they generate pressure a little bit quicker. But besides losing 5 seniors at the end of this season, not much is going to change from this team going into next year. This is year 4, so it's kind of our setup for trying to win a championship in year number 5. But we have the hardest opponent on this schedule that we have ever had so far in this video because we have to play at number 18, Texas. At least our first game of the season's a little bit easier. It's against Louisiana, though it's saying they're an 84 overall. And we came out on top of this one winning 34-20. The next week, though, you know what's coming up. We're going on the road to DKR, and we're going to try our best to take down the Longhorns. If anything, I want this to be a competitive game. That would at least prove the current roster we have can compete with some of the better teams in the country. But I do have to give Texas credit so far. They're playing us pretty well, and I put in our 99 speedster running back that we're missing. I needed Alton Casey to hit Tim Nye right there, though we should be able to get this 3rd and 9. And it does feel a little weird to go between James Castro and Nye, but he's faster. The problem I have, though, is even if it says he has 99 speed, it doesn't necessarily feel like it. That's a perfect check down to get into the end zone. And we've gotten this game right back within 1 possession. We could also score before the end of the first half. Don't forget, we have a super tall receiver that should be able to catch this. And I still can't believe he chose Rice of all schools. The longer this goes on for, the more confident I'm feeling, even if we're going down. And that's because our defense was crushing them up until they gave up a huge touchdown, and they're gonna not get the 2-point conversion at least. The pressure has been put right back on us. Little halfback draw goes nowhere. And this is a pretty tough 3rd and 13 to convert on. I'm gonna probably have our running back late though. No, I'm throwing it straight to them. I stared their linebacker in the eyes and threw it to him anyway. We are completely done if we can't hold them to a field goal right here. They just threw it over our safety's head. And I think we have the look that we're hoping for, though if they get back to that ball, that would have been crazy. It was inaccurate anyway from Alton Casey. I know that we're about to have this drag. Are you serious? Just another frustrating moment. We did hold them to a field goal. But considering our current position, I don't have much hope. We're going to see if we can get some crazy catches like that could have been. And you all know exactly who I miss at the moment. Without him out there on the field, our offense just doesn't move it the same. I do like that we still have another season though for our receivers to get a little bit better. Right here, we're going to set our feet, we're going to throw it up, and we're going to moss them, or they're going to catch the ball. We had a size advantage. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That was at least enough to prove we can keep up with them. And next year, they're not going to have Trey Owens. I feel like I made some very bad decisions in that game, so we should bounce back at UTEP, which we did, and I just kept on simming. We scored 70 points and gave up 0 against FCS Southeast. I also saw the stat line flash for a split second. Alton Casey had 9 passing touchdowns. That's got to be a school record. And it was. He is now in the Rice record book, so it would have been cool if there was a way for it to pop up and show me that he actually set that record. It might not be the national record for passing passing touchdowns in a game. Somehow David from Houston back in 1990 had 11, but it is also an American Conference record. And we're playing so well in Sim, plus we destroyed Army the last time we hopped into it, so we can simulate that too. There's Alton Casey putting up another Player of the Week performance. And for the second week in a row, we just held our opponent scoreless, winning 45-0. It's also popped up that we are ranked inside the top 25, even with that one loss to Texas. And since I've been smarter about how I've conserved the games I can hop into this season, we can play at UAB and at Tulane. We just have to get there first. Before we sim these next few matchups, you're going to see that we're sitting on top of the American Conference, though it didn't mean that much last year. And I'm feeling good playing at Memphis, considering they're sitting at 1-4. Unfortunately, we didn't have a shutout for a third straight week in a row, but we did double their score. And as we have this game against USF, we're now up to number 20 in the country. We'd take them down by 2, and then we played 1-7 Charlotte, who we just survived against by 3. But either way, we've maintained our position in the American Conference up here at the top, and there's 3 teams from our conference that are ranked inside the top 25. We're about to play them in back-to-back weeks, but I'm so excited that we're even in this position. And if we can just get through these 2 matchups, we would be looking at a spot in the college football playoffs. I have to give credit to UAB though. They are not playing around. They scored 28 points in the first half, which is why it's so crucial we started out the second half with a touchdown. Then they marched down the field to kick 3. And they have us on a 3rd and 8 to start this fourth quarter, but we have an easy completion. I really think we could get a touchdown off of this halfback screen as well. I've said that Nye has 99 speed. It still doesn't quite feel like it, but it makes sense why. His wear and tear popped up after the play. It said that he is missing 6, and that's a bad throw. What did I say about Alton Casey though? His accuracies could actually come back to bite us. They got a hand on it. And here we go. 3rd and 10, man-to-man coverage. Same look as first down, off target. There's probably too much time left on the clock to go for it on this 4th down, but I feel like we could turn around and catch it. So the risk has paid off. We've gotten it back within a possession. Whenever they're able to score within like 2 plays though, it really doesn't matter that much. Give me this size mismatch all day. We're gonna catch it again. And I can't believe he actually held on to that. Our odds would have been so much better if I just went for the possession catch, little halfback toss, show off that speed. And now would our defense please make us stand and not give up anything dumb? They have a touchdown and they're still gonna run for it. The worst part is they just keep on letting their QB run. And you might say, put a quarterback spy out there. I have a quarterback spy out there, but now they're stretching the field, moving the chains again. We've had very few chances in this game to actually get some stops. On 3rd down, they're gonna pick it up. And I simply just could never stop their offense. Eventually, they would get into the end zone again. It certainly does not feel good to give up 45 points to them. That is such a slow throwing motion. We don't deserve this catch. And I've simply lost all hope in this game because of how much they've dominated versus us, even if we are inside the red zone. Whether we score a touchdown or not, I just don't see our defense actually stopping them on the run. We're going to break the tackle and we're going to find a way in. But now it's time for the big call, the 2-point conversion. No matter what, this game can't go to overtime, so we got to get in right here. It looks like James Castro has it. And you best believe that we are ready to just stop that run. I actually really liked our approach right there. Here, they're not going to have anywhere to go either. And I promise, we're prepared for the pass if they try to throw it on 3rd and 9. You're not going to beat Burke. That is some clamps right there. And we could even get a touchdown out of this. The cut is beautiful. He's going all the way. Kyrie Burke has done it, though we might have scored too soon. And that dawned on me as he was taking it in. If they get into field goal range, there's nothing we can do. We're going to lose. Considering that they still have all 3 of their timeouts left, we almost can't play soft coverage. They're also going to try to run. Their quarterback should not be doing that. And I think it is only right if we try to send in some pressure to throw him off. Now I have everybody backed up for 4th and 9. It's going to be 4 verticals. I know where they're going. I know where they're going. You are dumb. You are so stupid. You're going to let us come back in the final seconds. Good try. Do I feel good about myself for making the computer look bad there? Yes. Yes, I do. They always end up having the right thing happen. And I still can't believe we just pulled that off. We have certainly been rewarded for that performance as well. We are ranked inside the top 10 with Rice. And I wish I could say it would be impossible for us to not make our conference championship, but we could still drop both of our final matchups. Our final 2 games are against Tulane and Navy, so it makes more sense to play the one on the road at an 86 overall team. But there's no way that we can lose after what we just went through. We showed resilience. We showed that we're not going to back down, and what have we done in this game? Dominate. That perfect throw gives us a 3-possession lead. And Tulane is a big play to start the 4th quarter, though I still don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference. It is 3rd and 17. If they can't convert right here, they're probably probably going to have to go for it, but they're just throwing us interceptions at this point. Oh, this is disrespectful. You better not get caught, Burke. That's 2 pick sixes for him now. I don't know why Zach is getting credit at the bottom of the score bug, though. So I think I found another bug inside this game for EA to fix. We ended up winning, though, comfortably. And Alton Casey didn't even have to do that much. Here we go, though. All we have to do is take down Navy, who is somehow an 85 overall. And if we're getting this pop-up ranked number 7, I think we did it. Talk about an incredible season from Rice. Texas was still a top 25 team to finish out the year. We ended up winning most of our games by multiple possessions. It's just recently they've gotten a little bit closer, especially against UAB. I'll also say this doesn't feel right to be firing our offensive coordinator. We're just going to pretend that he's finding a better job. And the reason for that is I want to get a tactician that's going to make our offense even better. You all should see it all come together in the future. For now, though, we have a tough match to handle. We get to host it. And I gotta say, offensively, neither team's been as good because we know each other's weaknesses. It is so frustrating we couldn't pick up a block there because that could have been a touchdown play, but we gotta punt it back to them. We have to get a stop. And don't worry, I have a quarterback contain out there just in case they did try to run it with him. That solid defense, though, puts the ball back in our hands, and that's the look that we were hoping for. I just don't know if we're fast enough to actually get it to work, and look at him go. He's gone. You simply can't come out with bad alignment against us. And I know that they're getting close to the end zone, but I don't think they're gonna get in. Throw it to me. Throw it to me. I knew it. I knew they were gonna get it coming my way. I could have stepped up. I could have tried to stop the scramble, but no, he didn't get a good throw off. He threw it at us. And this might be the dumbest thing I could do in this scenario, but we're going for the double pass. I'm feeling so confident against UAB, we just went for a double pass. Or reverse pass, whatever. We just need one more first down now, and there's that speed going to work. One guy to beat. We aren't going to do it there. And it does help them out a little bit. They still have a little bit of a chance to get us off the field. But we have some fresh legs to put out there with James Castro, and he's going to get us closer. I fully trust him to end this one right here. The blocks look good, and he's cutting up for a touchdown. You can't stop him. Maybe I should have left him as the starter, even if he doesn't have 99 speed too. And it took us 4 seasons, but we're taking home the American Conference Championship. With how many teams are in our conference, I wasn't sure we'd even get it this soon. And we've leveled up one more time to level 23, so we have enough coach points to max out this tactician tree, which is such a big deal. I even believe that next year we should be in the running to potentially win the Heisman Trophy. And we have gotten Michigan in the first round of the playoffs. I thought we'd get a bye. This is one of those rare scenarios, though, where the 4 highest seeds are also ranked super high in the country, so being ranked number 8 is not enough to get us that bye. And our path to potentially winning a championship is absolutely brutal, but we're gonna try our best. At least we get to host this playoff game. That gives us a slight edge. And I'll tell you right now, things are looking pretty good. We have a chance to go up 14-0. Turn around. That is so frustrating right there. We had the touchdown. Now we're waiting for our slant to get open. And I think we're going to get stuck kicking 3, but that's not the end of the world. I'm not forcing it. We've played a good and smart game so far. As you can see, we're going up 10-0. And the Wolverines have still not done anything as we're driving down the field looking for more points, but they forced that fumble. That is absolutely ridiculous. I want to see what their quarterback does with 7 dudes in his face. Oh, he completes a perfect pass for a touchdown. Wonderful. He must be used to getting that treatment if he has that much composure in that situation. Our tight end, though, should have a touchdown himself. It's going to be a 3rd and 19 with that drop where I highly doubt that we're going to be able to pick this up on the ground, but that was our best option. And you know what? We're going to be aggressive right here. Our blocks aren't going to be there, though. So we've had a lot of stuff not go our way. It's why I'm not surprised in these final few minutes they've been able to get it a bit closer. They hit the goalpost, but the upright's not going to get you a touchdown. You're going to have to reach the end zone here. What is our coverage doing? Well, now we're down by 1 with 5 minutes left, but that's fine. We only need a field goal to win this game, though I would like to get more than that on this drive. Though if we're smart about this, this could be the final drive of the entire game. My only concern is getting in a 3rd and long situation, though the halfback screens are working wonders at the moment. We're now at the 25, and I promise this will either be the dumbest or the smartest play call of the game. They were not fooled at all. If we could get a man-to-man coverage look right here, though, our running back will be open. That's what I wanted. There's a safety back there to play this. This could be bad. That's a little bit rough. Now it is 3rd and 14, man-to-man coverage. Please don't knock it out. And I do not know how he was able to make this catch right here. I'm not sure it even was. No, he had a foot down and he held on. That makes it 4th and inches. I think this is worth going for. Unless our offensive line doesn't hold up, it won't matter. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take away the rest of the time before we end up getting into the end zone. There's a flag. We already know it's going to be holding or something dumb. That's going to bring it back. And I've never seen an illegal block in the back penalty on this game before. I can already tell right right now, EA wants us to lose this game. They've pulled all the strings in this one so far. But I think we're going to be okay. We're now down to the 3-yard line. We have a touchdown right here. And on the 2-point conversion, we have great blocks once again. Here's the thing though, Michigan's gotten the ball past midfield and they thought they could test Calvin. How many teams are going to get fooled by testing my user? That's it. I mean, they still had all 3 of their timeouts left, so they could technically get us off the field. But should we even be concerned? They're going to get this ball back with like 10 seconds left on the clock inside the 6. Stadium Pulse is also at an absolute max. I would assume this is going to be the final play, their last heave in this game. We're just going to have to swat it away. No. Bring him down. I am not letting us lose off of something like that. He almost broke free. At the end of the day, though, we have survived. I almost lost my mind. Now we have to deal with undefeated #1 in the country, Kansas State, next. And in the meantime, I did hire an offensive coordinator. He isn't the best tactician in the world, but it is the best I could find. What all of our focus should be on, though, is taking down the Wildcats. And I'm honestly just super happy that we were at least able to get by Michigan. The fact that we're playing this good, and it's not even our final season, shows how well this team has been built. And I think the first touchdown of the game is going to go to us, especially if they're in man-to-man coverage. That play has like a pick on it or something. We need to get as many points as we can as long as we're playing this well, though that was a bad throw. And do you know why it was a bad throw? Because Alton Casey broke his finger and is out for the rest of the game. I didn't even realize when we recruited this kid, he was a left-handed quarterback. What I do know about him though is he has 90 speed and he's putting it to work. What a run right there. Maybe we will be okay in this matchup still. And I have to say, as we approach halftime, things still look pretty good for us. Kansas State is just giving us a touchdown, so we could really be moving on to the semifinals. This team is making a great run at the championship at the moment. We're getting a sack, and I have backed everybody up. It is 4th and 28. All they can really do is just send up a prayer. They have one route that could have gotten them there, but by the way they weren't even able to complete that pass, I'm wondering how they're 13-0. It really is a surprise we were able to win by this much, especially since we didn't run the ball that well. But we had multiple young players step up, and he could have completed a few more of his passes, but I'm very happy with the sophomore's performance. I feel like we've also lucked out because we've drawn Missouri in the semifinals, who is a lower seed than us, and they were able to make it this far by taking down 2 schools from Florida. I will give them credit though, they average more points per game than us, and that's playing in the SEC, which is tough to do. So if we're going to take down the Tigers, we're going to have to play flawlessly on defense. It's also pretty exciting to have our starting quarterback back. He's played well so far. We just really need to finish off this drive, and using the jet touch pass, there's absolutely nowhere to go. That is where having the player with a shifty ability though would be extremely clutch. We're just going to keep on going to the run, and eventually one of our receivers have got to get open, like right here. By the time we've gotten to about midway in the 3rd quarter though, we do still have a lead. It should just be a lot more, and it's not, because Alton Casey has 3 interceptions. Right here though, he might be able to put it on the money, and we had it. We're going to keep on taking shots if we have a chance to. Instant pressure like that means it is now 3rd and 19. What do we do? The Tigers have finally shown up to play. Using play action, they're also going to beat us deep. We probably shouldn't have sent a blitz there, but I'm addicted. I know we're going to get pressure at some point. It just isn't on that play. Going into the 4th quarter, I'm not exactly a fan of our spot, but that's mainly because I know that we should have a much larger lead. We've done it to ourselves though, so we can't really complain. They're going up, and I'm sure they'll also find a way to get this 2-point conversion as well. No, they won't. Now the ball is back in our hands. We need our blocking to be a bit better when we run, and I would love enough time back here in the pocket to get the ball out on 3rd and 4, which we got. You know we're also going to have to go for a jet touch pass at some point. I mean, the blocks are there. I should have had a touchdown, which could end up hurting us later on in this game, though if they're going to run zone coverage, I can playmaker that, and there's going to be a flag. It simply always happens this way. There's nothing I can do to avoid it at this point, though we can find our tight end again, and all the struggles are starting to add up. We don't know if we even have this slant here. Having to punt it back to them was literally the last thing I wanted to do, but we're getting it back too. And I think we can win this game if we are smart about how we handle the ball from this point. We could easily shred through this final 5 minutes and make sure that it's the final drive of the game as we kick a field goal, but Nye is going to be off to the races. I've been waiting for this moment. His 99 speed, his 5-star ability actually showed up. We're going to have him to the outside right here too, but he didn't quite get enough. On 3rd and 10, they're also throwing it straight over the middle. That was supposed to be me stopping it. Now we're going to have to get an interception. It's not happening, and we'll see if they can pick up their 2-point conversion, it almost looks like they're gonna have somebody. I have to give the Tigers credit though. This has turned into an incredible game, and if this is an accurate pass, we're gonna score right back. I mean, Nye's just too quick. I don't know why they decided to press him after he just had like a 50-yard run, but I have to say I'm pretty glad that we stuck with him, and he could be the one that ends this. All it takes is a couple big runs from him and we're gonna get in. And this might just be 4-down territory. The direct snap, he's cutting back on. He's at the 2, which is gonna set us up for my favorite play. I don't always have Wildcat in the playbook, but the blocks are good. We're stunting on them. We're stunting. That right there is exactly how you close out a semifinal performance. And we're literally 1 game away from winning it all in year 4. It's gonna be against NC State as well, the number 2 team in the country, which is not an easy task considering both of us have 1 loss. Before we hop into this game though, we should probably cover our season stats. I think I forgot about them. Alton Casey has thrown 17 interceptions. It hasn't seemed to really matter that much. And look at this. Tim Nye has rushed for over 1,000 yards. Now, some of these are a little stacked and lopsided because we've played in like 16 games now. We have 17 receiving touchdowns with 2 of our receivers. But that just shows the type of season that we're having, and NC State is a lower overall than we are. Going into this national championship game, I'm actually feeling pretty confident. And we've already been able to get 1 stop. We'll see what type of coverage they have out there on 3rd and 19. If we're able to pick this up like that, it's beautiful. But here's the thing. We're going to be on a 3rd and 16 just a couple plays later, and my only hope is sending up a deep ball that was out of reach. There's a flag. I cannot believe it, but they are calling it against NC State. We jumped into him. From there, our drive has just continued down the field. We're going to the 3, and I'm expecting us to get in on this 3rd and goal. I'm going to roll out and either throw it to our tight end or take it in. That is the exact type of start that I was looking for. We've also been able to get another touchdown, so we're looking to go up 21-0. But I might have just made a huge mistake. Why didn't I set my feet there? They're going to get a pick 6 out of it. It was such a dumb little pass there too. I mean, it shouldn't have been that inaccurate. But I worked so hard for us to be in an incredible position going into the second half, and now we're no longer there. I thought that completion helped us a little bit, but apparently we didn't get out of bounds, so the clock has continued to run. Now we're trying to reach the end zone in the final seconds. And that was just straight pure panic right there. I don't think this is going to be good enough to hit the field goal. Well, it dropped. That's actually really lucky. And if I wasn't terrible, we'd have such a larger lead in this game, but we still controlled the 3rd quarter pretty well. We still have the ball too, which means I think we're going to win this national championship. Now, of course, it would be nice if we could get the touchdown right here. They bit at that jet touch pass, and it's just kept on going downhill from there. They had an interception that we turned into a field goal. This 4th and 8 isn't going to get them enough. And we're no longer even trying to score that much. We're just trying to run out as much clock as we can, but we're still getting in. This has been a dominant performance here in the national championship. And I wasn't expecting us to win it all in season number 4, but now we have a chance to go back to back. That's going to be our goal going into season number 5, where a lot of our players like Tim Nye should be at their absolute best. I don't know why I didn't consider the fact though that some of our best players might just want to go on to the NFL draft. We are going to get our best receiver to come back, James Castro. We don't necessarily need. He's okay to go. And then our 88 overall tight end, Alexander Spain stayed. I don't really need a 68 overall receiver. He's coming back too. We only lost a few players to graduation, including an 86 overall corner. That's the best one. It's kind of funny that I'm not even upset James Castro left. He was our backup. I understand. And the reason he didn't play over Tim Nye was literally this 5 speed difference. I just had to go with the faster dude. When it comes to the transfer portal, we have one option we could pick up that could help us out. Outside of that, none of these guys really would. But I'm just not sure if we're going to win this battle. It's going to come down to the wire. I feel comfortable saying this is his loss. We're going for another championship. And this team is going to come in at a 90 overall before I encourage some of these guys to transfer. I know for a fact just getting rid of 163 overall could bring up our overall by like 2 points. And with a couple 75 overalls as our lowest overall players now, we're up to a 93. You're also going to see we didn't get the biggest gains out of Alton Casey. I still stand on what I said though. I think he could win the Heisman Trophy this year, even if his accuracies aren't going up more, which actually makes it hard to have him out there on the field considering Raymond has better accuracies as just a former 3-star recruit and he's just as fast. It wouldn't make sense to change up anything now though. We also have to take a look at this running back, probably one of the best ones we have had in one of these videos. 99 speed is so good. And of course with Ben Felice, he has 50-50 as a gold ability. We know that means he's going to catch all the 50-50 balls. 99 spectacular catch, 98 jumping with 94 speed, and he's 6'4". That's the outlook of the great players on this team. I'm expecting us to start 3-0, though we do have to play at Death Valley this year. We'll probably play against UAB as well. And on top top of trying to win back-to-back national championships, we should also go for the Heisman Trophy. I can't believe what I'm seeing though. We lost our first game to UTEP 27-24. It is all my fault as well. Alton Casey wasn't out there on the field. I don't know why. Now we know why Raymond should never be the starter and why he's a backup. I don't care that he got us a win in the playoffs. That's ridiculous. I mean, the simple switch is all it's going to take to get us back on a roll, but we should be undefeated. And my expectations going into Death Valley is we're not going to lose. This has got to be the hardest game we're going to have on our schedule as well. And I bet you weren't expecting the score to look like this here at the end of the fourth quarter. We're going for another tutty. I think that's going to make it 34-3. And at least from what I can see in the past few weeks, our defense is absolutely incredible. It's been a while since they've given up more than 7 points. And I'm expecting us to do the exact same thing versus Charlotte. It wasn't as pretty of a win though. We only beat them by 7. And now we have to deal with undefeated number 6 UAB, who's clearly just as good as last year. We're the former national champions though. They are not a team that should worry us. And this has just been another dominating performance from us. We've had a lead like the entire time. I'm just throwing up jump balls for fun. And Alton Casey has thrown for 5 passing touchdowns. He's going for number 6, which he gets. I'm pretty sure we're about to cakewalk our way back into the playoffs, which is why from this point in the season, I feel confident simming all the way up until our conference championship. I mean, just looking at the rest of our schedule, nobody on here worries me besides maybe 5-1 UTSA. Memphis could also be decent, but I'm sure either way, we're going to be okay. Well, taking a look at the conference standings, I don't think anybody's surprised. We didn't lose a single American game. And just take a look at some of these scores. We got 49-0, 69-7, 37-8. Like all of these are blowouts. But to be fair, that's what you'd expect out of a team of our caliber. I also just discovered we have some all gray jerseys, but there's 0 numbers on the back. What is that? I've definitely found another bug for EA to fix. Luckily for us though, I don't think we're going to be in this game much. And that's because after we take a 7-point lead, I don't think East Carolina is going to have it any closer. They are kind of putting the pressure on us on 4th and goal though. I'm messing up. And I'm still going to sim till the end. I did not want to look at those numberless jerseys. I knew one way or another we'd get the win. And we'll see what seed we get in the playoffs. To be honest, as long as we have a first round bye, I'll be happy. Now, unfortunately, the Heisman Trophy race was not something we were a part of. But Tim Nye won the best running back award. And he might have been in the Heisman race with more touchdowns. Just from a passing standpoint, I feel like Alton Casey should have been up there. 42 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. We did well, just not that many yards, I guess. Either way, pretty good season so far. We've gotten Middle Tennessee in our first playoff game. And apparently they got there by taking down Purdue by 6 points. I really don't think we could have asked for an easier playoff matchup, but I guess we'll see. Maybe they'll be able to keep it close. Well, I'm happy to say not much work for me to do at all. We have just run away with this one. Looks like we're getting another tutty. And that gets us one step closer to winning back-to-back championships. It looks like the next team we're going to have to face is USC. And I really have no worries at all. I'm so confident in how we're doing. I've literally played like 0 snaps this season because we're doing so well in sim. And with about 26 seconds left, this game's already over. But they've thrown it straight to us on 4th and 1, so they want us to put up even more points. It's going to be 24-7. There's no way that he is able to catch us. And we've just walked our way into a national championship game against either Oregon or I think Kansas State. We already know that we can handle the Wildcats from last year, so I'm glad that we got the Ducks. And they just crushed Kansas State 28-0. I think if anybody's going to end our run, it would probably be them. And I guess we'll see where this game is sitting with a few minutes left. Well, we have a 10-point lead and they're gonna make it 3. But I'm not sure that was a touchdown catch. It might have been. After reviewing it, they gave it to them. On 3rd and 4, we're gonna be able to pick this up. And from there, we've just continued to run out the rest of the clock as we keep getting first downs. There was absolutely no chance we were about to blow that one. So we worked to run out the rest of the clock and we're taking home back-to-back titles. I know that all this took place in the American Conference, but this was a very impressive 5-year rebuild. And I just have to really appreciate how much better Alton Casey got. He rushed for 10 touchdowns, 800 yards this season while cutting back on interceptions, 15 less. But I guess it also helps when you have somebody like Tim Nye that doubled the touchdowns he scored in a season. And if you've made it to this point in the video, you might as well leave a like plus check out some of my other rebuilds because you clearly enjoy the content.